Have you ever wondered how many indie games actually make it to the finish line? Not the ones that start strong or gather a few comments online. I mean the ones that survive. The ones that make it all the way to launch. And I think about that a lot. All those abandoned prototypes sitting in forgotten folders. A few seconds of gameplay, maybe a single mechanic, and that all worked too well to delete. And yet, no one got to play it. Somewhere out there are thousands of half-built games, and each one of them starting with the same spark. This time I'm going to finish it. But the truth is, very few do. Depending on who you ask, somewhere between 1 and 10% of indie projects never make it to proper launch. The rest fade somewhere between optimism and overwork. It's not usually burnout or disaster that kills them. It's quiet erosion, a loss of direction where the project grows faster than the person behind it can keep up. Games usually don't explode, they just stop, and that's the part nobody warns you about. Finishing a game isn't the creative problem that you think it is. It's not about how inspired you are, but about how you protect your project from your own imagination. Every game starts simple. You picture one clean idea, a single feeling that you want the players to experience. And then, before you realize it, the idea starts growing arms and legs, and one feature leads to another. And suddenly the project you could finish alone turns into something that needs an entire studio. It feels like progress, but it's actually fragmentation. Each new idea stretches the project thinner, until the core feeling that made it exciting in the first place gets buried under its own ambition. That's the point where most projects die. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they stopped being possible. The games that survive stay small, and they're sharp and focused on the core idea. They defend a single emotion and cut everything else around it that doesn't serve it. For me, that rule is simple. If it doesn't strengthen the feeling of drifting at night, it doesn't belong in my game. The second trap is silence. A lot of developers build in secret, waiting for your game to be ready, but that moment never comes. Because visibility isn't just marketing, it's the core existence of your game. If nobody knows your game exists, it might as well not. Every clip you share, every devlog, every prototype post, it all keeps the project real. When you show your work, you create a small echo outside your own head, and that echo keeps you accountable. It reminds you that your game is more than just a file on your hard drive. And the more people you see that start responding, even just a few of them, help your motivation. And it stops your motivation from depending entirely on you. And it starts becoming momentum. People connect to progress and not to perfection. They want to see you figure things out and not just appear at the finish line pretending your game went fully smooth. So if you're building something, just talk about it. Not as marketing, but just as proof that you're creating something. Because making games alone feels pure. It's no compromises, it's no deadlines, and no noise. But that silence can also be the trap. Without feedback, it's easy to start polishing the wrong thing or miss what's actually confusing to new players. You can't see your game clearly from the inside. Release a small build, even to a few testers that give you reality. You can see how people play, not how you imagine them to play. And that small dose of reality might be what saves your game from drifting too far off course. And there's the sneakiest trap of them all, which is perfectionism, and it's often disguised as progress. You think you're improving your game, but in reality, you're delaying the momentum you have to finish. So you polish the lighting, fix transitions, rewrite systems, but underneath, you're just afraid to release your game. Because releasing means that you'll find out if it was good enough. Most people don't fail because they're bad. They fail because they never reach that point where they feel good enough. And that good enough isn't a compromise, it's a threshold. And It's the moment where your game can finally teach you what it actually is. You can't perfect something that doesn't exist. You can only refine what you've finished. So set your deadline. Refine what done means. And when you hit it, just ship it. After that, many developers treat launch like the finish line. They push through endless work, publish, and then collapse thinking it's over. But release isn't an ending, it's the beginning of a new chapter. It's the moment where your game finally stops being yours and becomes something shared. If you disappear after release, your game disappears as well. But if you stay present and fight through that, if you update, listen, and respond, the game keeps breathing, because launch isn't closure for you. It's the first contact it makes with the outside world. It's the start of a new phase. If only a few handful of indie games ever reach launch, then success has to start earlier. It has to be designed into the process. So define the smallest version of the idea that captures the full feeling of your game, and that's your center anchor. Everything else is just optional. And then you should start showing some progress, and that as early as possible. Don't try to impress people, but build some rhythm around your game. Each post, each reaction, and each small spark keeps your project moving. When new ideas appear, measure them against your anchor. If they don't strengthen that feeling, just cut them away. And after that, there's only release. And have a plan for after release, even if your roadmap is tiny. It tells your audience and yourself that the story doesn't end at launch. Finishing is momentum and not an event. When I look at a world full of indie games, I don't just see failed projects. You can see progress and practice, so each unfinished prototype is a rehearsal for something that you will finish. Even games that never launch teach you how to reach the next stage faster. They teach focus, restraint, pacing, and clarity. They teach you what kind of developer you are. So, when a project collapses, don't throw away that lesson. Use it to design your next one smarter. The one only true failure you can have is to stop entirely. So, there's one question I keep returning to. If you knew your project only had a 5% chance of making it to launch, would you still make it? If the answer is yes, then you have already beaten most odds. Because finishing a game isn't just about chasing certainty. It's about creating despite that uncertainty. It's learning to balance the chaos and the control that is game development. To keep ambition without letting it destroy your own focus. To stay patient when progress slows down and humble when it speeds up. When your game finally leaves your hard drive and reaches another person, that's the real success. Everything before that was practice. So just build something small, build it clearly, and give it that one thing most games never get: a chance to exist. And if you're making a game right now, tell me what keeps you going, what's the part of your project that still excites you. Share it in the comments, and I love to see what you're working on. And if you found this useful, just subscribe for some more videos like this one, and wishlist Treasure Drift on Steam. And with that, I hope I see you in the next one.